Hey, what's up, lowlights? Welcome to another episode of Highlights and Lowlights. We take a look at the best and worst, the ups and downs, the highlights and lowlights of each Bills game. I'm your host, Lowlife Daniel, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the Bills' 29-25 loss to the Patriots to go to 4-3 on the season. I just don't know what we're watching right now. The last 3 weeks, the effort has just been terrible from the Bills, and this might be who this team is. They might just be a talented team that underachieves and plays down to their competition. Like, it's been 3 weeks in a row and we pulled it out against the Giants, but we really should have lost all 3 of these games. If somebody shows you who they are, you have to believe them. And so maybe it's time to lower our expectations. There's a lot of injuries on this defense. This offense just is not in sync. And I don't know, the Bills play on Thursday, and I'm not going to let them ruin my weekend, I'll say that much. There's so many lowlights I can give out for this game. There's just poor effort across the board. Offense, defense, special teams. It was all bad, especially in the first half. The Bills just haven't been playing with a sense of urgency until the fourth quarter, till it's crunch time, when they obviously need to and their back's against the wall. It shows that the Bills are a talented team, and maybe they just are relying on their talent too much. We'll get it back next drive. We'll get it back later. And you can't do that in the NFL. You definitely can't do that against playoff teams and just top teams in the NFL. You can't give up a 10-point lead to the Chiefs early. They need to come out with that at the beginning of these games and in these first halves. They've just been coming out flat. The Bills just are playing with no sense of urgency. If they play the whole game like they play 2-minute drills at the end of the game, they'd be out in front. Like, there's no question about it. I'm not going to give a low light to Ken Dorsey because it honestly seems like an execution issue. The offensive line was just getting pushed back. Josh Allen could never get comfortable. He was running for his life back there, but also he wasn't really allowed to run. So if I did have to have a critique of Ken Dorsey, it would be that. I'd like to see Josh Allen unleash more in the run game. He just seems like he's thinking too much back there, but he didn't have time to get comfortable. That offensive line was getting pushed back. That's a low light. I'm not giving Josh Allen a highlight or a low light for this game, only because he was responsible for 3 touchdowns in the second half. He got it together, but he didn't look sharp out there. There were a lot of easy throws that guys had to go up, jump, and catch. I'm not sure if that arm is bothering. He was missing on some throws, and we have to monitor that shoulder, I guess, but he just wasn't on point like we needed him to be. Not a highlight, not a low light. He played fine. Same thing for Stephon Diggs. He got a touchdown, but he just had an okay game. Not a highlight, not a low light. I actually saw something coming into this game that said the Patriots have been shutting down teams' number 1 receivers, but give up so many yards to number 2 receivers and tight ends. So with that being said, I want to give a low light to Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox. They both only had 1 catch. And I know Dawson Knox has the wrist injury, but he just wasn't effective. Gabriel Davis is just looking limited as a number 2 receiver. He can make those big chunk plays and great sideline catches, but he's not really a good route runner. He doesn't really get open. Their effort just wasn't enough. Dawson Knox has this huge contract, one of the highest paid tight ends in the league. And Gabe Davis, this is the final year of his contract. He's up for an extension. And I think the Bills should look elsewhere for a number 2 receiver if this is all that he is. I definitely wouldn't commit big money to him. Where Dawson Knox and Gabe Davis failed, the baby Bills shined. I got to give a highlight to Dalton Kincaid. He really stepped up, had an amazing game. Dalton Kincaid led the team in receiving, catches and yards. 8 catches on 8 targets, so he caught everything that went his way for 75 yards. They still have a lot of the things where it's like a quick out to him, and then he turns upfield, but he was fighting hard for extra yards. And when they did have him go upfield a little bit, he was finding soft spots and zones and just getting open. So shout out to Dalton Kincaid. Another baby Bill I got to shout out, Khalil Shakir. I've always liked Khalil Shakir. I know once they got Kincaid, he'd have fewer reps in the slot, but that's why I like Shakir. He could play the slot and outside. 4 catches on 4 targets. So again, just making most of his opportunities. When the ball was thrown his way, he was making plays. And some of those catches were for big first downs on those late scoring drives. So just making the most of his opportunity, and hopefully that means he gets more opportunities going forward. Another one of these baby Bills that really stepped up, James Cook. Just in his second year, he's just proven that he could be that workhorse. He had about 50 yards rushing, 4 yards a carry. They kind of had to go away from it once they were down, but even in the receiving game, he scored a touchdown, had 40 yards receiving, over 100 all-purpose yards on the day. Just a reliable option in this offense. James Cook, running, receiving, he did it all. I've mentioned it in passing, but I have to give a highlight to the Bills' second half offense. They scored on the first drive of the second half to bring it within 3. The Bills scored 22 points in the second half. The offense put their foot on the gas a little bit more in the second half. They were aggressive. They had to go for it on 4th down a couple times, long sustained drives. Offense looked better in the second half, and the only problem was there was 2 halves, and the defense couldn't stop anything, and I have to give a low light to this Bills defense. This was their worst game of the season so far. The Bills were playing Mac Jones, and they let him pick them apart. He didn't throw for a crazy amount of yards, but he really just picked them apart. Efficient game. They didn't really get any pressure, make it difficult for him back there. And then on top of that, the Bills were kind of getting gashed in the run. Same thing. Run defense is terrible. That has been the Bills' weakness. They didn't get gashed for any huge plays, but it just seemed like every time it was a 3rd down and they needed 2 yards, they'd get 4. Like, the Bills' defense could not get off the field. Last week, Tyler Bass was on here as a low light after going 0 for 2 against the Giants. In this game, he gets 1 as well, but this week it's for the entire special teams unit. Tyler Bass made his first field goal attempt, but missed his second, going 1 of 2 on the day. Just in a game that was this close, a divisional game, we needed these points, and Tyler Bass missed the kick. It was within his range. It was a 42-yard field goal, but he just missed it pretty badly. Not sure what's going on, but just an off day for everybody, offense, defense, and special teams. In the Bills' only punt of the game, the Patriots showed nobody back there to return the punt. And then at the last second or two, this guy decides to sprint back and field the punt. The guy catches it. And even after all of that running, the Bills let that guy run 25 yards on the return. Just terrible punt coverage by the Bills. Maybe it was placed badly. I got to watch it again, but I'm not sure how that guy had the energy to run back there to receive the punt, catch it, and then run 25 yards on top of that. It just seemed like the Patriots wanted it more in every aspect. I've never seen something like that before. The Bills just couldn't get momentum going, and that's kind of the last low light. I'm not really sure how to word it, but you'll see where I'm going. The Patriots got the ball first, drove downfield, pretty good drive. The Bills defense held them to a field goal on the opening drive. Cool. Bills are getting the ball now. On the very first play, Josh Allen throws an interception. Just like that, the Patriots get the ball, drive downfield, short field, touchdown. Bills are down 10-0 minutes into the game. Just could not get momentum going. Off to a rough start, and then things just kept piling up from there. A lot of mistakes. The Bills had 9 penalties. Every time there was a first down, there would be something that would bring it back. Or the Bills would have a penalty on defense that would be an automatic first down for the Patriots. The Bills just kept shooting themselves in the foot, and I know people use this term about the Bills. They beat themselves a lot, and with this game, I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but there were just a lot of mistakes that just built on top of each other, and the Bills just couldn't get going after all of those. That's all I've got to say for this game. The Bills have a quick turnaround. Hopefully they can get it together. They've got the Buccaneers coming to town on a Thursday night game. It's quick. I don't know if the Bills could get it together, but maybe just getting punched in the mouth like this is good for them. Luckily, the Dolphins also lost, so that's pretty good. But being 1-2 in the division at this point is tough to come back from. But the Bills have their work cut out for them. They're a talented team. They just gotta put it together, have that sense of urgency from the beginning of the game, and they should run away with this. This is supposed to be the easy part of the schedule. The Jaguars were a tough game, but the Giants, Patriots, and Bucks, those games are supposed to be gimmies. But honestly, the Bills are playing down to their competition, not playing up to their full potential, and hopefully we can see them turn it around. We're 7 weeks through the season. After this game on Thursday, we'll be about halfway through the season, and I'm not sure if this is who the Bills are, but if they've shown us this much 3 weeks in a row, maybe it's time to change our expectations. I still have faith in this team. Hopefully you guys do too. And if not, we're going to have an open dialogue. We're going to talk about this every game. But until then, stay low.